Welcome in Minnesota. I'm here with Wilkie once again. This is the section championship edition of our podcast. We've done, I don't know how many episodes we've done so far this season, but it's been fun. I dropped the gray screen behind me. I'm going with some helmets. We got Prior Lake, two Force Lake helmets, and the Egan. Wait, the camera's flipped. The Egan one's back here. So, yeah, hey, unveiling the new setup. I don't know if that's permanent. We'll see. What sticks? You got a new setup going on behind you too.
Yeah, this is makeshift because I didn't go back to work, and so I was like, "What do I need for a background here?" Plus, I had to move into the bedroom because we have this puppy who's going wild out there. So I don't know her. She's just 10 weeks old, so she's going crazy. So I had to move in here. So kind of makeshift backdrop just so it's not too distracting for everybody watching. But yeah, section week, the section championship weeks, and honestly, the playoffs are super fun, but once you get to the section championships, you really know who the teams are that have made their mark. And we've really had good focus in all these sections as far as who the really good teams are, and some teams that have really come on late in the season that maybe we didn't think were as strong as they were early. And it's been really fun to see that. I've got a couple that I'm going to brag about that we talked about earlier that I said, don't count these teams out. So I'm excited to get to all of the different sections and levels.
Yeah, we'll go typical schedule here. We'll start with 6A. We'll work our way down. It's especially interesting just because we get to know more of these matchups that we're going to see. And we're just inching closer and closer to the state tournament, to the bank. And yeah, this is when it gets real interesting because now the games are going to start to get closer for not just a couple good games, but you're going to look at most of the game slates and you're going to go, oh yeah, I want to watch that one. Where do I find it? And that's kind of what the deal is. So before we start, let's do our annual. What would you do to make high school football better in Minnesota? I'll go first. Give you a little time to think. I don't know what can we recall what our last week's was? It was.
I talked about the introductions. My distaste and disgust for the introductions. Yours is the coin flip. I don't like pregame player introductions with the tunnel run out, and it just drives me crazy. So
that's good memory by us. I'm gonna go
pet peeve thing.
I'm gonna go. Mine is gonna be media in the playoffs. The league restricts playoffs, playoff media, really tight. For what reason? I'm not too sure. I'm still trying to find answers on that. I know it's not just a me thing. I was talking to one guy, and it's kind of, I don't know, the whole thing. You do think of money and such, because there are like people do pay the league to be like the exclusive broadcast like NSPN and then Channel 5 and 45. And I get that, like the whole streaming, because that's what the NFL does with Amazon Prime, and like that's kind of where it's trending to, right? But at the same time, somebody going there just to record videos that they're going to put out for highlights like after the game, I feel like it's a disservice to the players, to the coaches, to the communities to not let media there. And if they're not live broadcasting, I think they should be allowed to be there. Obviously, you got to vet them and everything.
100% agree with you on that.
If they're not live broadcasting, that's what the exclusive thing is to pay for.
Also, you're doing games that aren't being live broadcast. And so to not have some access to put highlights of those players and promote it, I do think that's a disservice, especially at the lower levels of the classes that don't get as much press. I get it. Everybody's going to be at the Maple Grove game and the Minnetonka game and all that stuff, but I do agree with that. I think that is a disservice to those kids. So, yeah.
I wanted to go to the Fargo Dome because the section champion, they have like 2 days of just from morning to night, just like section championship games for those smaller schools. It was last year is kind of something that I pegged that I wanted to do this year. Not able to. Hopefully I'll work on it.
If you go up there
and then be able to.
If you go up there, you let me know if you're going, because I have a restaurant that you have to go to, and I might even Venmo money to you to bring me some food back from it. So let me know.
All right.
Mine, mine is, and this is just from getting to some more high school games this year, and especially, excuse me, lower level divisions, smaller schools, I should say, is the play clocks. Being consistent with schools, all schools having play clocks on the field. I think I know it can be a money thing, but we've had the legal use of play clocks on the field for over 10 years. So that's enough time for schools to save some money. It's frustrating because it's a really big part of the game, and time management factor. When you have referees keeping it on the field, I don't feel like it's consistent, and it can really change the outcome of a game. If you think of a clock, a referee not starting it on time, and you add up the number of seconds, I just think it's unfair.
Yeah.
It's unfair to the defense when the offense is out, gets 45. It's not consistent. So we've worked really hard. I know most schools do, but there's still a lot of schools out there that don't. And I really think that's frustrating. So I really wish that would be more uniform and done at all levels. So it's a big part of the game. The mystery clock, if you're not there.
Yeah, you look at the back judge, and he's the one really keeping time or whatever, and kind of like putting his arm up and then going like this as the clock goes down.
Not consistent. And it's not just that, it's when it started.
Right.
Like when did he start it?
Those are valuable seconds.
They're supposed to start it when the whistle blows, the 40 starts. People watch enough NFL games and college games to see that. And if that back judge is not doing that, you just think of the amount of lost clock during the game that can really hurt a defense or a team that's behind. So anyway, that's a rant, but I do think that's something that should be addressed.
All right. Well, let's start going through scores and also kind of future matchups of what we're going to see. We'll make some picks. I told you we're going to pick one lock and one upset. Not that we think the upset is necessarily going to happen, but it's more if an upset is going to happen, which team could we see make an upset? So that's kind of a disclaimer on that. You can use it as we're hating on your school or whatever, however you want to twist it. That's fine with me, but that's just the disclaimer of our picks. Something fun, something to keep track of as well. So
I like it.
Let's go. This is our first not live show, so we're not live today.
This is where you can fix stuff when I screw up. If there's a bathroom break, they'll never even know if there's a bathroom break.
Hilarious. You're going to see my 7-on-7 kind of throughout. They presented the scoreboard, so kind of all the social media posts, you're going to see their logo. The Winter High School League is coming up in January. They also do a youth one in December. We've talked about it before. They have locations in the metro and around the metro, kind of expanding outward from the metro. So, hey, as your team gets eliminated, what's to look forward to is
a
7-on-7 season that you can go get your boys. And go play some ball. I know some schools don't like to pass the ball. Don't let that deter you from doing this.
Come on.
Well, a lot of teams do.
If the program's not passing the ball, I feel like those are the kids that should be going there. Right. Show your coach that you can do it, and you got to implement that into the game. So go to my 7-on-7, get a team, and start competing in the off season. You got it.
Yeah, right? Go check. I'll have links to their website and to the leagues down in the description. Go check that out after you get done listening to the episode if you're interested. And also if you're a coach, it could be something that you give to your players to be like, hey, take a look at this. So
absolutely.
Here we go. 6A, the bright pink slide. Let's take a look at some of the scores. Was there anything that jumped out at you when you just take a look at what happened in 6A?
First of all, you and I were texting back and forth almost the whole night watching all of these games. I mean, all of the games were somewhere online.
You were going through some tabs.
And some of them
I had a lot of screens going. It was an unhealthy amount of screens. It's hard to take notes when you're looking at so many games. I think that was one thing that I struggled with, and I didn't do a good job of taking notes because I was watching so many things. But
I think just going column by column, the Forest Lake Coon Rapids game wasn't anything we didn't expect. I will say the second game, I was really shocked at the end over East Ridge game. It's 28-20. It just didn't feel that close. Andover really struggled, especially in the first half offensively, just couldn't put things together, string any first downs together, and had a couple turnovers that, obviously killed drives. And, Eastridge was solid. I thought their quarterback play was great. They were missing one of their best defensive players. He was in a boot. So I felt like before the game, Andover had a really good chance, offensively. That Andover's defense played better than they had the last few games. And the 2 extra touchdowns that Eastridge had were really off of turnovers. I felt the switch of the field, but that game surprised me. I really felt like Andover would move on.
Yeah, your Andover team goes down over there.
Yeah,
and that was kind of one of the
probably been
things.
about 15 years since they were done in the first round. So
Yeah,
it's been a bit.
I was a little hesitant, like in my power rankings during the middle of the season. I didn't see this coming necessarily, but it was definitely one of the things that I kind of got a little pushback from, of not having Andover a little higher. And it didn't play out exactly kind of how I envisioned it, but it was one of the things that there was kind of a red flag to this team a little bit. And that was one of the things I saw it ended up happening in the first round. But it was kind of, you explained the game pretty well. Yeah, Eastridge, a big win, getting their quarterback back and kind of making a
that
playoff
matters.
run
He's a
that
good
they're
player. He's a really good
kinda wanting
player.
to.
He's dynamic, and that's a team that maybe will give Maple Grove a little bit more of a run than people would think. That Mounds U Rogers game, that was when I was telling you that was my kind of upset pick, and Rogers just could not get things going offensively, and that's kind of been their MO. Defense is still pretty solid, but you got to finish drives, because it's momentum switch. So the game was a little closer than maybe that score looks, but I still feel like in high school football, anytime you're within a score like that, it's, that's a turnover away difference. But
They're playing a lot of like aggressive defense, I felt like, and Mounds U was able to exploit that with their passing game and their weapons and their quarterback. So I think that was kind of what my story would be of that game in watching parts of it. I didn't watch the full game whistle to whistle.
Same.
But yeah, and then the Woodbury-Egan game, I watched a good portion of this one.
What a game. What a game.
A tough loss.
Considering Egan's kind of regular season, for those kids to battle like that, I think when you're up against it's a 2 versus 7. I don't know if it was, Woodbury's no disrespect, guys, but a soft 2 seed, if you ask me. And so Egan had their chance. That would have been a great upset. I love the
came down to the 2 point. Yep.
Went for 2 to win the game. You've got the game in your hands. I 100% respect and approve of that decision right there. Win it right there. You kick the PAT. You never know what happens in overtime. I watched replayed that game, and they ran their power with their quarterback and just missed the kick out block, and the linebacker comes through on that side. But what a great finish.
Inches, feet, man, it's tough
so it was tough.
Think about those seniors that end it that way, but it
all
comes
well, we're missing half the teams in the state right now,
right.
So it's crazy. It goes so fast. So top of the next column, no surprises
Champlin-Roseville,
there. They did what they had to do and cruised through that one pretty easily. Were you surprised at the Lakeville Wayzata game at all? Did you think
I wasn't? I'm just still, the Wayzata team has so much talent, and I think they have the ability to compete, but we'll see. Maybe next year.
Right.
Maybe next year.
That's everybody. The Maple Grove Eastview game was, that's just what it is. The Rosemont Park game is what it is. The Anoka Tonka game. Let's go to the Moorhead Blaine. I watched most of that game. Like, I was clicking back and forth. That was a really good football game. I think Blaine, the way the seating is, it's a 3-6, but that's not.
People are calling it an upset. I would have called it an upset if Blaine would have beat Moorhead.
That's what I would have called it. Yeah. That's the first time. I've watched Moorhead play. That's the first time I've watched them with Jet Feeney at quarterback. Yep. You and I were doing some analysis there. He's a solid quarterback. I can analyze quarterbacks all day long. He does a lot of really good things. I agreed with you, though. I thought he was being a little bit more of a gunslinger than he needed to be. and
A little
forced a couple
reckless.
things. And there was a couple turnovers that were unnecessary. But he does have weapons, and Blaine had a tough time on defense with that. But man, up until halftime, that game was, the Blaine quarterback was a stud, and they
Yeah.
did some really good things. Blaine's offensive line played really well. So again, that game was, a little closer most of the way, with Moorhead kind of pulling away at the end when Blaine had to get a little more aggressive to get back in it. But really
It's one
good
of the
football
stats
game.
that nobody really keeps track of, like, turnover worthy plays, and I think it's an interesting one of, like,
Mm-hmm.
when you're a quarterback, not only was that a bad read, but did you force that one? It probably
Sure.
should have been picked. Was it either a drop? Was it a really tight window that you probably shouldn't have tested? Now, I honestly do like high school quarterbacks throwing in the tight windows just because I think it is such a rare thing, and I think Feeney is good at that, and I think he's sometimes maybe gets a little too comfortable with
Yeah,
his
it's like he
offense.
said if you're going on read progression, he had players open on the rhythm route multiple
Or just the
times.
little
And
flats where he
obviously,
could dump
yeah,
it and let his
yep.
dude run.
But I
Um,
understand why he's waiting too. Mac's out there and he's trying to get a big play. So I get it. So, but yeah, Moorhead moving on is interesting. We'll talk about that in the second round. The Centennial Hopkins game was the Lakeville Eden Prairie game was ick. The Osseo St. Michael game was a lot closer than that final score.
yeah,
That
I think
STMA quarterback is a dude.
yeah. The play
He
that kinda put it away was, like, it was kind of like I don't know if it was a play action or what, but I think it was, uh, Kranz kinda rolling to his left, and I think he went to throw it, and
Mhm.
I think it was an interception. I don't know if it was a fumble recovery, but,
Yeah, it looked like it
Zach
was. Yeah, I
Marble,
saw that.
who I mentioned on last week's podcast, was actually the guy that either intercepted or got
Mhm.
the fumble and ran it
To
back for a
scoop it.
touchdown and
Yeah.
kinda broke that
Just
game open.
huge momentum swings when you have plays like that. And in
Right.
high school football, those quarters are a little shorter and it just takes time. And Osseo is a team that isn't a real big play offense. They kind of have to grind the ball. And man, that the other one in that game that could have put that way sooner, that the St. Michael quarterback, he pulled it down on the draw play and busted it like 40 or 50 yards, and then some receiver holds on the way, like just unnecessary. But some really good plays in that game. So that score 43-21 is not really indicative of how that went. So I don't know. Any other thoughts on that one before we?
No, I think that was probably the most competitive, at least what I would have called the most competitive game going into the week of, like, I was most interested to see how that
Mhm.
one played out, and although the
Sure,
score was 43-21, I think
it was really closer.
it was a fun game to watch and
Yeah. Well, and
see how it
Osseo got
played.
stuffed right before halftime too, down on the goal
Yeah,
line, so they could have tied it up. Uh, the Prior Lake game was a wash. The Farmington hung around maybe more than people would think with Edina. I thought Edina would put up more points. If I had to say
yeah,
anything, their defense played really well. I thought not having them put 42 on Farmington is a little, I don't know, a little concerning, I
yeah.
think offensively, but they do have the firepower for it. I just kind of surprised at that score. And maybe it's one of those games where you feel like it's in hand and you just take your foot off the pedal when you're in
I
the
think they've
playoffs to
proved
stay
enough
healthy.
this regular season in hanging around, even if they
Hmm.
didn't win the Minnetonka game, they were still there.
Sure.
They didn't win the Lakeville South game, but they were there, and that's kind of
Right.
the upper echelon of teams, and we
Sure.
talked about
Sure.
they got
Sure.
beat up by Eden Prairie pretty bad, but, Eden Prairie's also a really good team, and we might get a rematch of that at
Hmm.
some point in the
Hmm.
playoffs.
Hmm.
So, yeah, the Shakopee-Stillwater game was one of the
Oh,
more,
that
uh I
that
just
was
would
fun
put
to
a big
watch.
question mark behind
That
the
was fun to
game because it was
watch.
a confusing game for me to consume, but
Hmm.
go ahead, give me your thoughts.
No, I thought that game was really fun to watch. There were some big plays. Again, the final score is 26-14, but that game for a long stretch was tied. And Shakopee, because they can control the ball and on the ground and control the clock, you just end up limiting that. As long as they don't turn the ball over, you just take away those extra possessions from Stillwater. I thought Stillwater, um, you know, for the matchup going into it, that you thought maybe um, it should be a big Shakopee win based on the power team that they can be. I thought Stillwater really hung in there and did a great job.
It's an interesting case study because you saw Shakopee and Stillwater play earlier this year, and I think they were both very different teams at that time.
Mhm.
Shakopee was, I don't know if they've, hindsight is they weren't, but they were a top 5 team at the time and kind of
Mhm.
fully healthy. I know they've been going through some injuries and such, but Shakopee kind of dominated Stillwater, and I think both of these teams have kind of taken a step back as the season has went along, at least in my eyes. And
I want to know
this,
why Shakopee's decided to start throwing the football.
I
Just
told you, I think I've
income.
seen Shakopee throw more in one game than I have the last 2 seasons combined. I was
Yeah,
joking,
and
but
there was
um,
just some. I thought it was just unnecessary play
yeah,
action stuff where you're moving the football and all of a sudden you just decide to start throwing passes and I'm like, I don't know, that's not their forte. And sometimes it's a one of those coaching feels when you're calling the game, like you feel like it's set up. But man, I if I'm getting 3-4 yards of crack, I'm not going to put the ball in the air. So much as I like to throw it.
one of the notes I had is, why do running teams pass it? Uh, I
Well,
was
I get your
one of
play
my
action. You
I
get your
got
play
you. I
action
got
stuff,
you.
but
But that
yeah.
was more than just your
No,
play
no, no,
action
no,
stuff.
no. I
Um,
100% agree.
so a little red flag planted in the ground, but
Agreed.
maybe,
Yeah.
like you said, maybe that was a game plan thing that um, was a one-time thing, hopefully,
Sure. Yeah, you see
at
stuff
least
on
if I'm
film
a
that you think you
Shakopee
can take
fan
advantage
and
of.
going for Shakopee. But
Mhm.
um, yeah, kind of talking about all the scores. Let's get to the state tournament bracket and how it's kind of shaken out.
Well,
What do you
for
think?
as game STMA had against Osseo, they're not going to have a fun time this week. Rosemont, I still is my dark horse to win it all. I think they've got a really good team, and um, they're going to have a pretty easy time with the St. Michael. I think St. Michael's an improved team, but they're going to have a really tough time scoring against Rosemont's defense.
Yeah, um, I'll save that for maybe my picks. I don't know. I don't want
Okay,
to get
all right, you come back to it. That's
too
fine.
too far into that. Prior Lake, I was talking to Coach Lance, who's been on the show multiple times. And I feel Prior Lake got a pretty bad draw of all the 2 seeds that they had to
Hmm.
play.
Sure.
Minnetonka's the last one you want to
Hmm.
play. Even if they got like a Lakeville South, their game was really good against Lakeville South, and it was a
Hmm.
battle. They lost to Minnetonka, kind of got gashed up by quarterback counter as Minnetonka does in the first matchup, and that was with Gutzmer not healthy and not playing. So
Hmm.
I think the Prior Lake run is coming to an end, as much as it,
Yeah,
it
this is.
pains me. It pains me to
Yeah,
see
I'm
it.
looking forward to. I'm excited, and I'm going to try to actually get to in person if it works out on the schedule. But that Rosemont, what I'm predicting is a Rosemont Minnetonka game will be really fun, really
Yeah,
really fun.
bottom left. What are you thinking?
Man, I love Coach Beeskow and Coach Burtness. Those guys played for me. I
Oh
think they have
no,
a solid team. I just
no.
Edina's offense, and I don't know. I just my only concern is have the have the Rangers been battle tested enough against a team like Edina? Um,
Well, the
and
answer
I
would be
don't know.
no,
I
but it's a matter of,
right.
is there talent this year that they have enough to
Yeah.
overcome
And
that?
I really want him to. I really want. I'm rooting for Forest Lake. Don't get me wrong, but honestly, if I had to put my Coles cash out there, I'd probably have to pick the Hornets. I mean, Coach Potts and Coach Beeskow, I think they probably coached together for a little bit at Augsburg, so they know each other pretty well. But I don't know. I'd have to lean a little bit to Edina on this one.
Think there's coin flip games for like each class, at least one of them,
Hmm.
and this would
Hmm.
be the game that I would coin, no pun intended, as a coin
Hmm.
flip of,
Sure.
I
No,
could
I
really
feel the
see it
same
on
way.
one
I feel the same way. I
either
think they both have their
team.
strengths. Here's
Yeah.
the real question, though: can whoever wins that game get by Eden Prairie?
Oh, that's the assumption that you're making, is Eden Prairie over Champlin, which I don't disagree with.
Hmm.
I know I've had some Champlin comments over the course of the season. I think Eden Prairie is a different team than you've seen this season. And they're big, they're physical, and
They are big.
they've they've beat up on some teams as well, and I think Champlin's in their crosshairs. But hey, if you want to go make a statement, Champlin, this is definitely the week to do it, to
Yeah,
prove that
I
you
agree. I mean, if this
you
would
are
be an
for real.
upset game, if you want to throw on this side of the left side of the bracket, if you want to throw an upset out there that people wouldn't expect, that even though Champlin Park is a 2 seed and Eden Prairie is a 3 seed,
I would agree that
I
an
think most
upset.
people are going to say Eden Prairie is maybe a little tougher team, but
Agree.
that's my pick. That's my pick. I guess we can talk about it next week, but I don't. Whoever wins between Forest Lake and Edina is going to have a pretty tough physical matchup to get inside the bank. So
I'm gonna pick us. Well, I think Centennial's gonna win the Shakopee matchup. I kind of talked about. I think Shakopee's trending downward, and Centennial isn't. So I would
I
hedge
agree
my
with
bet
that.
there.
I agree with
And
that.
then
Coach Diggins is he's got a state championship in his pocket for a reason. He's got a ring on his hand, and they know how to coach this time of year. And I think they've really found their rhythm offensively, and their defense is tough enough. This game with 2 power running teams. Let's see if it kicks off at. I think a lot of these games are starting early.
it's gonna
Right?
last an hour.
Yeah, I think it's probably an hour. You'd probably be out of there. I think they moved all these games up to like early time. Like honestly, I think the Centennial game's like at 2:45 or something. We got to
Interesting.
check on this. Yeah, I'm serious because it's Halloween. A bunch of these games got moved up like to 5 and earlier. So we got
This
to
is
double
news
check on
to
that.
me.
Yeah, I was looking at the site, so I don't know. I could be wrong, but that's what I thought I saw. So,
Hey,
but yeah, I picked Centennial there. The Moorhead game, I don't know, man. That's a pretty that's a pretty good matchup for Moorhead against Woodbury. I think Woodbury's defense is not ready for what they're going to see based on
played
what
each other once this year, but yeah, I agree that
it's a different team, and I think they're in rhythm. And unless there's some kind of weird weather, which they're not going to have, Moorhead moves on. And that Centennial, well, we'll get to that next week. But if it's the Centennial Moorhead matchup, super interesting, of really contrasting styles. So
yeah.
Yeah. I don't think
Most of
there's
the
anything
games I'm
there.
seeing are at 7. I think it might
Okay.
be.
I hope they stay the 7, but I
Yeah,
thought I saw some out there like games are getting moved up, but we'll
might be
look
Thursday
into that some more.
practices. Yeah. I think
Eastridge have a
Maple
shot with
Grove.
Maple Grove?
I don't think so.
No, not at
And I
all.
don't think Mounds View has
How
a
excited
shot.
are you for that
So,
Mounds View game? Mounds View Lakeville South.
I mean, I think Mounds View is better than when they played Lakeville South, obviously at the start of the season.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to be enough. I think it's a matter of Mounds View doesn't really play a whole lot of Lakeville South style on their schedule, except for Lakeville South being
I'm
the
gonna
only
put this game. I'm gonna put this game just like when we're talking about like a potential upset game. I think this has got a
putting
little
Lakeville
more
South on upset watch here.
a little bit more juice than we would think. I think Mounds View is. I think they're playing with a lot of confidence. I think their defense and then the ability to put points on the board right now. I think they're feeling good about it. I do always give, if anything's close to what you would call a coin flip, I do give the edge to a power run team this time of year because of weather, potentially. And if you don't know that, then you pick the team that's got the Studley defense because that'll make a huge difference on turnovers. So I throw upset alert on that one. So
all right, my upset alert's going to be in Rosemount. I'm going STMA with my upset alert. I think I think STMA is a good team. I do.
I think they are too.
And I know
man.
Hey,
all right.
Think about it. They have a better shot of beating. When you look at it, I don't think Edina or Forest Lake is going to be considered an upset, at least in my eyes, because I can see them both winning in equal amount. So I think that one kind of gets eliminated. And then maybe Shakopee is the other one that I maybe would choose. But I mean, I know I've been a big Prior Lake guy.
Okay, let's do it this
I'm
way.
gonna go
Let's do it this way. On this board, which is your lock game? Which one is like you have a team that they can't lose?
Moorhead Woodbury.
Okay, like that. I can't disagree with that one. But what about Maple
EP.
Grove Eastridge?
Okay. I guess.
Which is your
want to go?
Which is your biggest coin flip game.
It would be the Forest Lake Edina game. And I
I
don't
agree
want
with that
to.
too.
I don't know. I've
No,
heard.
I got it.
Apparently, some people in Forest Lake aren't happy with me because apparently I've been saying some stuff. I can't recall anything I've said that's bad about Forest Lake. I've had them top 10, top 5 in my rankings. All that I've said is their passing defense is a little suspect, and I think that's fair to say. And that's my one concern with this Edina game because that's
Prove
going to
us
be
wrong
tested.
then. Prove us wrong,
Exactly.
right?
That's
I
going to
agree.
be
All right.
tested. So if you guys want to get past
Well,
the
it's going to
second
be
round,
fun.
I'm cheering
It's going
for
to
you.
be a fun week. It's going to be a fun week.
Here
Looking
we
forward to
go.
that. We got to double check on all those games.
Yeah, definitely double check the times. But I mean, we can the Northfield Owatonna game. You guys take a look at the
that game
Instagram.
was
You saw the ending of it.
Fantastic,
and just the game in general.
Man. Owatonna came on so great at the end of the season, and what a fun game. Iams, we think he's related to Michael Iams, or one of our Augsburg teammates. Cousin, okay.
Yep.
But Northfield, solid team. Their quarterback and Iams at receiver, stud.
Iams,
really good. But then like Owatana's ability to get the ball down the field in that short amount of time, and Coach Williams is a great
one-handed
coach,
catch
good
on the
friend.
far side of the field was nasty.
But it looked like it was like it kind of froze everybody because it didn't look like it was caught.
Right.
But then and the kicker too, like I'm not going to fault that kicker. That wasn't an easy kick. And then the wind out there at that time is something you got to play with.
It wasn't like it was an epic fail kick like you see some
No. Just a little bit left, and
yeah,
would have been fun to see that thing.
Hold on and see the refs.
Would have been fun to see it go to. Would have been fun to see that go to overtime for sure. But
it would have been. But
yeah, that's a tough loss. Tough loss right at the buzzer.
Yes.
I don't know. Like I didn't watch the Two Rivers Hastings game.
I did watch that.
Okay, go for it. Tell me about it.
The Altavilla brothers kind of put that one away. Altavilla to Altavilla connection.
My question is Two Rivers go for 2 to win it, or did they already have it?
Yes, they did. Yep. No, they went for 2 for the win. A little sprint out, dime in the right side of the end zone, and that was kind of all she wrote. Hastings had a little bit of time, but I mean, when it was kind of like an Egan scenario where you're going for it and it's a win or loss.
All the credit in the world to those coaches, man. And we all know that as a coach, you have plays in your back pocket that you practice and save, and some wrinkles that you put in just for that, because we've had it, and I've won a lot of games with that, and lost a couple too. But that's a gamble. That's huge. That's fun. It's probably the next best one is in the third column would be the Park Cooper game. I did look at that. I was really shocked at how close that game was.
Spring Lake Park's offense was, I'm not going to say bad, but it was good. Suspect at the very least. Their special team, like they had a blocked punt, and I think they had a kick return also. So like when you look at it, it's not like it was as dominant of a win as what I've liked them to blow them out. Yes, and I kind of expected it. So a little.
What's kind of this? It's kind of this thing too. Like I just give you like a weird thing to think about here. So you have a team like Cooper who had to play on Tuesday, right, and then play again Saturday. So there's this kind of weird thought process sometimes where you have this 10 days off, right? And you take your foot off the pedal and you don't really start seriously practicing it until Wednesday because you don't know who you're going to play necessarily. Whereas this team has been practicing on rhythm. And I know I've contradicted myself when you say, well, that's the benefit. You get to rest. But sometimes, man, I don't know, does it make you feel a little rusty sometimes too? I've felt that way as a coach where you got the bye and you get the rest. But it's like you got to kick your guys into gear again because took your foot off the pedal and that team's been playing and practicing. So I don't know.
I'd be willing to say that, like, I think high school games are physical, but they aren't as physical as like when you go up levels. So like the rest is important, but I think the rustiness, that's a big kind of like scale that I think could maybe lean towards the rustiness.
Yeah, it's relative though. I mean, there's not as much depth on some of these teams. So you have guys that don't come off the field. At the bigger schools, you're full platoon. Sometimes you have 2 defensive lines. So it is a little different. The Monticello, Alexandria did what they do. I was trying to look here. The Buffalo game, their running back was like, hold on here. What did I want to do? Oh, Spring Lake Park. Before we leave Spring Lake Park, their running back, Lamari Brown, 96 yards on 19 carries. 19 carries. So this ended up being a ball control for them. So anyway,
Yeah.
pass on that. Buffalo Armstrong, your thoughts?
This was a game that I got to watch some of, but the angle of where I was watching was so terrible. It was hard to watch any of the game,
Mm-hmm.
because the camera was so zoomed out. It was like a
Just
bird's eye
dots.
view, and kinda it was like basically ants I was trying to watch, and I got to
Yeah.
see the score, but didn't get to see as much as I wanted to in this game,
Right.
like,
Right.
tactically and whatever, but I also did see these 2 teams play in the regular season, and I would have expected it to go somewhere, in this kinda score, and I thought it was a one-possession game for a decent amount of the game,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so
Kind of disappointing for Armstrong because they were a higher ranked team for us most of the year and just didn't just get it going. But
yeah.
I'd
And then
say
when you look at, like, the Mankato West, they didn't play Chanhassen as hard as I wanted to. That was a kind of a Chan got on him and got on him quick. Chaska takes care of
well
East.
The Chan stats like Ramler 260 yards, 3 TDs,
Yeah.
and I
He
think
should
he
have
threw his first. I think
another
he threw his
one.
first. I think he threw his first interception of the year. I don't think he'd thrown a pick all year. So they're catching fire right now. So um, yeah, and then if you're their matchup with Chaska against East, like Chaska, they have their quarterback had 100 yards rushing and 3 TDs. This Matt Welter, I mean,
Yep.
hell of a day. And then of course Chaska wins. They end up scoring 3 unanswered touchdowns in the fourth quarter. So when you look at that game, that's
Right.
coming back and beating East. So they found their way too. So there's
Yeah.
yeah, it's
We
that
get a
time of year, man.
Mahtomedi Cretan rematch again in the
Mhm. Yeah,
section, championship, which is gonna be
yeah.
exciting if you got to watch the first matchup, or if you didn't, I'll just tell you, it was a really fun game,
Mhm.
um, to experience. Even though I wasn't there, I bet it was quite the game to be at,
Oh yeah.
and those 2 teams, don't like each other, so it should be a fun one. Um, the Monticello Elk River game we talked about, that's another game that we kinda look forward to. The Southwest, Washburn one is, I think, either of those teams, and Southwest beat Washburn in the regular season,
So
but that's gonna be a 4 seed, and they're gonna lose to the number 1 seed when they go to the
here's
state.
on my bracket sheet in front of me, the one I just know. Okay, it's the Chaska Chan Section Championship is 2:45 on Friday. That's the one I was thinking of.
Hmm. Okay.
So if
So
you're
some of
trying to get
these
off
5A
work
games.
early and go watch that, I've
Right.
got that one listed on their site as 2:45. So all the other we have Southwest and Washburn is at 6. Two Rivers and St. Thomas is at 6. All the other games are at 7. So Crete, Monterey, Bemidji, Alexandria,
Oh, the Bemidji
Northfield, Mayo.
Alexandria game. I cannot wait. I cannot
That's
wait
gonna be a
for it.
game. Yeah, that was such a great regular season game. That man,
It's gonna be
that'll be
a
fun.
fun.
That'll be fun. I know those
Bemidji had their
Alec people around me. So
starting safety get ejected in the second half of that game,
mhm,
and it
mhm.
was called the pass interference, and they ejected him. Which if you go look at the play, you can understand why. I I don't think he should have got ejected, but calling it should have been, if you're gonna eject the guy, you call personal foul and not pass interference. Whatever. That whole game, there was some questionable refereeing in that.
Well, this is what goes back to remember my
A
thing
little
of
weird.
how to make the game better. This is where you can walk over, grab the iPad, and look at it.
Yeah.
The official should be
Right.
able to look at it. If you're going to eject a kid, let's be really sure that he did what you think he did, and because you eject a kid, he's out the next game. Like
Yeah. I
that's
heard it
a
was
big
going through
deal.
the appeal process or whatever, so we'll see
Mhm.
what
Yeah,
goes on
that's
with
a
that. But
big deal. That's a big deal.
there's also a few penalties in that where the ref literally threw the penalty like 5+ seconds after the play happened, which is
Yeah.
just like, I get time for processing and all that. And I'm one of the guys to say, if it's not, if you don't think it's there, just don't call anything. Just to let
Mhm.
people play. And if
Sure.
coaches are yelling on the sideline about a holding call, like don't call it. Like some of these holding calls that are called that coaches are like crying about on the sideline, it's like it's not worth calling, and some of the refs just throw it because for whatever reason.
Yeah,
And it doesn't really affect the play. I'm team hold on to your whistles, hold on to your flags, and just let the
yeah.
guys battle it
Unless
out.
it's my team, then I need him to throw the flag,
Right,
right?
right. Yeah, but
Yeah. No, we're looking
game,
at. You don't have brackets for this. We're just
I
ripping them,
do
right?
not. Nope.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just to go through them again, Chaska Chan, who you got?
Ooh, Chan.
Chan.
Oh yeah, we
Southwest
gotta
Washburn.
let's do our locks and let's do our upsets. So
Oh, I got you.
my upset is gonna be my most likely upset, I think, on this. Again, my coin flip game for this class would be Matamidi Cretan. I think that's a coin
Hmm.
flip game. I could see it going
Sure.
either way. Um, this is tough. I'm gonna go upset alert. Alexandria, watch out for Bemidji. I think they're a strong team. They played Alexandria
I
really
think that's a
well.
good call.
I think Alexandria is probably going to win this game, but hey, upset alert. Watch out. Watch out. Bemidji, I really like this team, and I think they're
Hmm.
a lot better than people are giving them credit for.
I like Monticello and as a come up team, but I'm taking Elk River based on
Team Elk
seeding. Some
River.
people.
Oh,
I'm
yep,
gonna. I just tell you, Coach Hamilton.
yep.
He does stuff in the playoffs that he doesn't do during the regular season, and I feel like he outcoaches people in that way, and that matters. That's my upset alert. I think the lock game is. Oh my goodness. Um, that's a tough one. There's some pretty. I'm going to take my lock game is going to be Washburn over Southwest.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hmm. Interesting.
There you go.
Interesting stuff. My lock game
Yeah.
is going to be. I'm tempted to just take STA over Two Rivers because that's two, but I'm going to take
It's too
Spring Lake
easy.
Park over
That's
Buffalo.
low.
Yeah, yeah.
There we
Spring
go.
Lake
All
Park
right.
is going to be my lock over
All right.
Buffalo. My lock
All right.
pick.
Like
We're
it.
going to see it happen. 4A, just start off with the Cass and Stewartville game.
Oh
Like,
my goodness,
incredible
right?
game. I watched pretty much the whole. There was a lot of like turnover on downs and going for it. That
Mm-hmm.
was just like a back and forth where you look at a 10-7 game and you're like, oh, that was a boring game to watch. But there was so
No
much
way.
emotion, even just from like watching a huddle live stream. Shout out Cass and Manorville for putting it on their huddle. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to see it anywhere. But just a
First of all, their
fun,
stadium is
fun game.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Their stadium is
Yes.
fantastic. The other thing I liked about the huddle, just to interrupt you for a second, is that has the microphone on, so you can hear the people in the press box and the PA announcer, even when there's not a broadcast, right? And you can just
Mm-hmm.
hear the raw emotion of people, and that's super fun. So, I
It's
would
great.
love to be able to be at that Cass and Byron game, man.
Oh
How
yeah,
fun would
that's gonna
that
be a good
be?
one.
How fun
Hey,
would that
they're gonna
be?
be playing
They're
at the
going to
same
break all
spot they
attendance
did.
records.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's gonna be a good one. In what it would probably be my coin flip game of
Oh God,
this
yeah.
class.
Hey, if Byron's gonna have, I'm picking Casson in that game because I think Byron's a great team, but man, Casson had him the last time and let it slip away, and I just
Playing a
feel
good
like
team
it's hard to
twice.
beat. It's hard to beat him twice, and it's a big game, and I don't know. I mean, I could. It's not like it's like, oh, big upset pick because Casson's darn good team.
Yeah.
So, and they got to be feeling it. So they'll be. I bet that's a fun. I'd love to be just watch practice this week because the spirit there's got to be great.
Yes, definitely interesting one. I got to see some of the Ricori Wilmer game. Close one coming down to the wire.
Oh
I
man.
love it. Wilmer's a good team, so um,
Mm-hmm.
an impressive Ricori win, even though a 17-15 game doesn't necessarily jump off the box score, but it's
Well,
to that point where you're playing
I'll
good
just
teams this
I'll just
season.
tell you right now, the kicker for Ricori, his name is Noah Mick, and he kicks a field goal to win that game at the end.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
it's a
I was impressed by both
15-14
teams.
game.
I was impressed by both teams.
So shout out to the junior kicker for winning the game. That's a
Hey,
big deal
riding
in high school
high.
football. You got it,
Yeah.
man. Do you want to go through them, or do you want to pick them as we go?
I think
let's
touch on. I'll touch on some of the ones that at least I got to watch.
Sure.
The Hill Murray. I got to watch some of the Hill Murray Johnson game. It wasn't a. It was the only game on at the 11 a.m. thing, so I kind of figured that was going to be a blow up. But I was just interested to see what. And the Hill Murray just blitzed the hell out of Johnson, and they're the spread offense and whatever. So, interesting if that's. I haven't seen a whole lot of Hill Murray. Like if that's like their identity on defense is just getting after the quarterback or whatever and just manning up on the backside with no help and being like, try us. But it was interesting to see Hill Murray in some live action. Fridley, I think, took down a St. Anthony team that I probably thought was going to I would have favored them going into the week. And Fridley, what was his name? Number 26. He had quite the day. I'll get his number so I can get him some recognition, but he kind of had the ceiling game-winning TD that kind of was the nail in the coffin, I like to say. And yeah, a good game.
Well, I would say I'd probably say
there we go.
Okay, I would say shout out to Fridley's defense because St. Anthony's put up a lot of points this year, so it says a lot about their defense at this time of the year, and that matters.
Yeah.
Third column,
Holy Angels, BSM. BSM kind of had that game, and it sounds like SMB kind of made a really late push, but BSM controlled that game for the most part. So a rematch with Holy Angels and BSM, which I've been kind of eyeing as a game that I want to watch too. We're going to get.
Well, and SMB went for 2 at the end to try to tie it. They had a 2-point conversion at the end. And also shout out to SMB. They've got a young man, an 8th grader, starting at quarterback. You know this story? Carter Caputo, and his dad was a stud quarterback for the Gophers, Brian Caputo. He's still the 2nd-ranked passer and touchdown passer for the Gophers in Gopher history. So little prodigy coming through there. So it'll be fun to see him next year. Played this well as an 8th grader. Wild, right?
Love it. Yeah.
No surprises in the next 2 matchups.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot to talk about.
That Hermantown North Branch game. North Branch was a solid team all year.
Yeah,
Hermantown.
hey.
But then, hey, I'm going to go to this too, and I've been saying it all year. Coach Lundeen, good friend, fantastic coach, legend. I'm just telling you, man. You can't. There's the reason that these coaches are legendary because they know how to coach in the playoffs. So if I'm going to do upset special in this thing, I'm taking Becker over Fergus. And I know Fergus has had a year. I'm just telling you, upset alert right there that Coach Lundeen, he knows how to coach. That's going to be my upset pick here. What's yours?
I was thinking of more of my lock, but I think I want to take a peek at the Hermantown Grand Rapids game because Grand Rapids got Hermantown pretty good this regular season, but I think it might be a different story. And I think this is more seen maybe Ricori, but I think Marshall's just on a different level than them. And I think there's kind of 2 coin flip games with Holy Angels and BSM that I wouldn't be able to say, oh, this is going to be an upset. So I think kind of like process of elimination. Maybe I go Zimmerman. I don't know. I'm between those 2. I'll kind of leave it there. But I think those 2 are kind of
that Orno Zimmer game will be a fun matchup too.
But my lock is going to be your opposite. It's going to be Fergus Falls. I'm going to lock in a win over Becker right in your face. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I mean you're betting against a legend. So maybe
28-7.
Maybe you're right. I don't know. We'll see. My lock game is going to be Hill Murray.
Yep.
Coach Reeves is also a good friend of mine. I'm a lean on that. I think Hill Murray is a really solid team, and and on both sides of the ball. So go
I
with
think
that
my
one.
official upset alert is going to go with Zimmerman over
Okay.
Hermantown. So
All right.
Zimmerman, or no,
All right.
be on the watch
I'll
here.
take
Be on the
Becker.
watch.
Becker over Fergus.
3A, some 3A football. Some good football as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially over there at your neck of the woods where you travel to watch the game. A
Man,
barn burner game.
I will tell you that was one hell of a football game. Obviously, I have a dog in the fight, but Holy Family was ahead that entire game. I have to tell you a side story. There's two old dudes sitting behind me that have been watching Dassel Cokato football for 40 years, and they're in my ear talking about their tradition, and they're not worried they're going to come back. And I'm like, this game is over. Holy Family came out to start the second half, ran the kickoff back to make it 21-7. Feels like they're going to cruise. Dassel takes the ball back and goes down the field and makes it 21-14. But fast forward to the game when it's 28-25, and Holy Family had a chance, had a missed pass opportunity to put the game away, to go up 35-25, and then turn it over on downs. Dassel in their power run game. This Isaac Solomon kid is running back for Dassel, stud. Kid's great power runner, fast. They plot it down the field and they punch it in with about a minute and 15 seconds to go up 32-28. And you're like, oh man, Holy Family led the whole game and that was it. Obviously, after the kickoff, to start the second half, Dassel was like, we got to squib this ball down there, but their kicker kicks it out of bounds. Tragedy, right? Ball's at the 40, no time runs off the clock. Holy Family picks their way down the field. They've got 3rd and goal at the 6 with about 15 seconds left, and they run a throwback pass, they roll out left-handed quarterback Ethan Ryan rolls left, flips it back to a slot back underneath, wide open. He drops it. They come back on the next play, 4th and goal at the 6, 10 seconds left, whatever it is, and they find a receiver in the back of the end zone and hang on for the win. So just a crazy football game, really fun. But I will tell you, as a guy that coached football for 37 years, it's so much harder to watch than it is to coach, because you're in charge of the game and you're coaching it.
You're not in control.
Great win by Holy Family, great win, and they match up with Jordan, a team that they handled pretty well early in the season, but Jordan's playing well this time of year too. That's a big win over Howard Lake. They really put it on, and they shut out Howard. I did too, and they shut them out in the second half and poured it on. So that'll be a hell of a matchup.
A lot of games decided by a pretty convincing margin in this, and I think that's kind of one of the things when you get to. But Thief River Falls pulled up in a little bit of an upset over Minnewaska, St. Croix Lutheran. I think they got played really tough by Camden, which is, I don't know if it's Camden playing really up or St. Croix Lutheran playing down, but that's a red flag going into a North game. That is like, I thought that was going to be North's best competition, but I could see North rolling over them pretty easily now after that result. Could be wrong, but
I had a little text chat with Coach Adams at Minneapolis North, and they're healthy and they're feeling really good about their run. So I told him I'd probably see him. Yeah, I'd probably see him in the bank. So well wishes to them. They're a solid team.
My upset alert, I'm looking at 2 right now, and I think I'm going to be I think my upset alert's going to be Litchfield over Albany. Albany, I think, beat them by 2 points earlier, but a really close game this regular season. I think, again, it's one of those things. You don't want to play a good team twice, and I think that tends to – I don't know if it's conscious, unconsciously, but it matters. And I think the team that lost in the regular season, if they're at an even level, I think they have the advantage for whatever reason. I don't know if we can put a finger on why, but I think Litchfield is my upset alert. Albany, watch out.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd call that an upset, because Litchfield ripped Dassel Cokato to give Holy Family the 1 seed, but you can. My upset, I'm gonna go huge here, and I'm gonna go Laverne over Waseca. That one would get some headlines because Waseca is a top 3 team, but I didn't like Waseca playing 21-0 to Tri-City. That one's a red flag for me. And Laverne shutting out Albert Lee tells me something about that defense. So
yeah.
let's
My
ride
other
that
upset
one.
was going to be, well, I don't know. That's more of a coin flip game in that Pequot Lakes and Piers. I think, I don't know if you could consider an upset either way because it's 2 really good teams going at it. But
yeah, that's a coin flip there. If you
my
ask me.
lock is going to be Pine Island over Cotter. I got to see that game in the regular season. Pretty comfortable and saying, and I get Pine Island's been kind of a force to be reckoned with. So it kind of feels like an easy way out. But
yeah,
DGF
my
would
lock's
be
gonna be Annandale. Foley's a nice team, but
I think
they
that's
will
2
not
free
match up
passes
well.
right there.
Yeah, that is
Prove us
pretty
wrong.
easy. Yeah,
Prove us wrong.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
yeah,
For sure.
fun
I like my
matchups
upset
here.
alert. You got it.
Can't wait. 2A, we talked about in this whole section 1, which we see in the top left here, kind of got flipped on its head a little bit. And I think it was it last week's podcast where I said either whoever wins this game, either it's Dover Iota or it's going to be Rochester Lords that's going to put Chatfield to the test. And whoever wins that game is going to come out. And I think they have a really good shot at beating Chatfield. And guess what happens? I got to watch this game. Lords takes care of Chatfield in a game that was a 21-7 game. It wasn't like it came down to one play. It was a really good showing from Lords. And I watched the Caledonia Triton game too, and Triton just couldn't protect Peter Schoen at all. And I saw his Twitter. His ankle is so messed up. He was playing on, I don't know if that's what it looked like while he was playing. I don't know how he played.
I hope not. Yeah.
But it was he just didn't get any pass protection. It was the only touchdown they scored was kind of off schedule, him rolling out and pointing to one of his receivers to go up the field.
Well, I'd probably lean in this
gold.
too. Caleb, I probably lean in this too much that tradition matters, but a team like Caledonia, like that's a system there, and their coaching staff is solid. So
Will Allen, number 10,
me.
Watch for him. Yeah, I think he's going to be making some plays in US Bank Stadium. I don't know if I'm jumping the gun there because the Lords is a good team, but if Caledonia makes it all the way, number 10 is going to be somebody to watch out for. Will Allen, impressive dude. Going through, Randolph pulled up an upset against Rush City. That was a big one that they get to rematch against Goodhue that they played in the regular season.
Right? Not Goodhue, Great Hue. That's what I hear.
Hue, yes.
That's what I hear. That's the word. That's the word on the street. I thought
anything on the left hand side, or you want to move to the right?
I think that Osakas Pillager game raised some eyebrows.
Yeah,
Pillager has just been dominating, and to come up short, I think that's tough. I don't know if they could have gotten by Holdingford anyway. When you see what Holdingford did to Staples Motley, oof.
Oh,
wow!
I saw what they did to Osakas this regular season.
That's just a whipping. So I don't know, but there's some fun matchups in a couple of these that'll be pretty interesting as far as teams that we think can go all the way. But your Frazee team went down, close game with Holly.
Yeah, unfortunate.
And then you got a powerhouse team on offense with Barnesville. Man, nice quarterback and solid receiving core too. So I mean, yeah, I that's a good northern Minnesota matchup up there with Barnesville and Holly. So that's one that's probably going to be played in the Fargo Dome. Am I right?
Yeah, I was trying to recall.
I think that would be one that they would do up there. They're really close to Fargo.
It would definitely make sense. Yeah, the Moose Lake game is going to be a good one too. When you look at, I think that's also a game that's would be one of my more competitive games if I'm going to pick one of these upcoming games. Both of those guys beat up on what I would consider inferior opponents and are going to match up now in a good matchup. The Gobblers going up against the Rebels. That's going to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
a good one. Yeah,
Do you
Barnesville
see? Do
plays
you see any? Do
Holly. Yep.
you see any upsets in this full bracket?
Oh, I think it's going to be upset alert Caledonia. Watch out for Lords. That would be my upset alert.
Yeah, even though they're, I mean, Caledonia record-wise, I guess I can see that. Yeah, I can't argue that one. That would probably be mine too, because I like Caledonia, what I've seen from them. There's a lot of locks in here, so I don't know if that's as fun to pick at this level.
I don't know if
I
there's
mean, Jackson County Central's gonna,
maybe 3. I would say 2 coin flip games in the Moose Lake, Aiken, and then Waterville, Maple River. I think those 2 are probably the most in doubt. When you look at these sections, I tried to watch the St. Cloud Cathedral Redwood Valley game, but the stream again was horrid, and I couldn't see anything. I think they played at St. John's from what I could make out, but even that was pretty hard to decipher. So I wish I could have watched more of that game, but going up against the Eden Valley Watkins team that I think is one of the better teams in this class, so that's going to be a tough matchup, but definitely a fun one. If I had to pick my lock, it's tough trying to avoid.
How do you avoid Jackson County Central?
Right, exactly. And how do you avoid Holdingford?
They haven't scored less than 60
I got to see this Holdingford Osakis game, and I thought it was going to be a good one. My expectation was I'm going to go up 3 hours up north and see a good game. And I was going down south at halftime because it was not competitive in Holdingford.
I just kind of feel better though, because I think Pillager is such a solid team all season that if that kind of win, maybe Osakis found their
telling you
their rhythm a little bit. But okay, I'm just saying.
Maybe, I got you. I got you.
It's high school football.
So yeah, I think we made our picks. Let's see. We got some regular season matchups that we saw previously that are unfolding again. So that's what obviously happens during section. So good to see some rematches going on and see if we can get some get backs going on. Cleveland going down. One of the
kind of surprised by that.
Yeah,
that was probably the one. Even the Bram MIB score was kind of like Bram had a good season, and just like go down like that is just wow.
MIB got there. Well, you see, I think Bram played MIB when they didn't have their starters, and even though I knew that going in, the score still concerned me. I was like, is that going to do that much? And then MIB's at full strength, and the score flips on its head in the other way.
Well, and I think too, like in this level, you look at the Barnum Deer River game. And when you get to 1A football, your rosters are small and every guy plays both ways for the most part. So if you have one guy or 2 guys get dinged, man, that's 4 positions you're scrambling for. So maybe sometimes these scores shouldn't be as surprising to us. I've never coached or played at this level to just watch. And so it's one of those things, but
the Deer River Barnum game was one of the more interesting games going in. I know it's clash of styles and what have you that you usually lean towards the heavier running team or whatever, but turned out opposite. I got to see the Murray County Central game. I got to see that one. Good stuff there. Murray County Central kind of took it to them. They ran a hook and ladder to one of their, I don't know if it was their tight end or offensive lineman. It was a very unique play that the dude stepped out on the 1, so they didn't count it, but it was like, oh, come on, just call it, because it was so worth it.
I looking at the overall thing here, Springfield's a really solid team. Fillmore is really good. I think the class of this whole bracket all the way around is Breckenridge. Their run game is so good, and I think defensively they just do things at a level that, and I know they have a really interesting schedule, but they're my lock game. I mean, I don't know much about Parker's Prairie. I've watched Breckenridge quite a bit, and that's my lock game, I feel like.
Interesting. Interesting. Man, I think if I'm gonna go, I feel like the potential for upsets in here
Hmm.
is a little bit more enticing when I look at the right side of my screen.
Mm-hmm. I'd agree with that.
Because I think if I was looking at the left side and I had to pick, I would go Murray County Central upset alert over Springfield. But even that,
Mm-hmm.
I like Murray County Central, and I've had them top 10. I've kind of been um, hard and fast that they should be, even though, uh, what have you, and lost it in the record category, whatever.
Sure.
But I think Red Lake County lost to Menominee.
Monoman.
Eh, Menominee.
Yep,
I got it right
Monoman.
the first time. I second guessed myself. Dang it.
You're right.
But that was a decent regular season game that I think that might be. But this Parker Prairie's team is also a good team. The locks are pretty, like, I'll take Fillmore Central on a lock over Lewiston. But let me do some quick did you already say your lock?
I'm locking Breckenridge over Parker's
Breckenridge.
Prairie.
Okay. And
I
then
think the
for your
I think
upset.
the undersold game that we about teams like the Lester Prairie, given Fairfax Winthrop game, could be fun.
Yeah.
I think that they're both coming off huge wins, and I feel like these are teams that haven't been in U.S. Bank for a bit or at all. So I think that adds to the fun.
I'm gonna
Point
go
out here's
upset alert Parker's Prairie. It's locked in. It's
sure.
gonna be in the Fargo Dome. This is again
Okay,
interesting. You got a lock. I got an upset alert on the same one.
sure.
Again, not saying I think Parker's Prairie is gonna win, but I think Breckenridge susceptible to Parker's Prairie. Struggling getting that word out.
Hmm,
That was a big word for
no.
me. Having graduated
Also, to point out too, the Red Lake County Monoman game is on Thursday.
yes.
So
Some of those dome games, like I think
yeah,
we said
you've got Parker's
4
Prairie
or 5
Breckenridge
teams
is
play.
12:30. The Belgrade Bruton El Rosa Upsala Swanville games at 10 a.m.
Some
Dawson and
morning
Dawson
football.
Boyd Minneota at 10 a.m. Murray County Central 12:30. So there's some variety
Hopefully
of scores here. So
next year I'll get out and be able to do
yeah,
some coverage of these games and
yeah,
show them the state. That's my goal.
yeah. Well, nine
Yes.
man's easy because they're basically playing the first round. I feel like already, right?
Oh man. Um some Yeah, man. It was interesting to see, like, the Mabel Canton Leroy game was a
Yeah.
interesting one to look at. The Wabasso Cedar Mountain game, I sent that to you and said you have to watch the end of it, but
That was
just a
wild.
unbelievable end to
You know
that
what's
game.
funny about that? Funny
Experience it
sad
was.
is listening to the audio when they scored and got the 2-point conversion. They're like, "We won," and then they kick off and run it back for a touchdown. I'm like, just
Oh,
absolute
the game just
tragedy. The
flips
people in
on
the
its
press
head.
box, you could just hear the just the sadness. Like they were already planning for the game next week, and I'm like, "Oh no!" So that was, oh man,
You're like, that's how it ends.
the
I
raw
think
emotions in there
Cedar
were
Mountain converted
something.
like a fourth and really long before that up to
Yeah,
get to
yeah,
that
yeah. To
point,
get
and then they
down there,
score. You're
they
like, the
threw it to that
stars are
same big
aligning and
receiver.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, man.
Oh,
So that
man,
was
just a
crazy,
tough
but you
loss,
gotta
but
special
fun.
teams matter. Special teams always matter. So
Yes. There was some Edgerton, Adrian Ellsworth beef going on Instagram that I saw.
mhm.
And I think both of those teams respectfully are playing to see who loses to Hills Beaver Creek. It's
Yeah,
just a matter
that's
of
the tough.
who's going to
Yeah,
make it,
right,
within
right,
a
right,
respectable
right.
score if they can. Um, the Border West Hancock game came down to you can see the score compared to a
Mhm.
lot of these scores up here. That was one of the more interesting games of the section semifinals. Um, Thinking about it, like, I tuned into the Hills Beaver Creek game a little too late to see. Like, I think I
Mhm.
tuned into the game when they were up 30. I got to see. So the game that I wanted to see was Stephen Argyle Goodridge, but they didn't.
Yeah,
There was no stream or what have you of anything.
yeah.
But
For some of the smaller towns, it's a little tougher
that
sometimes.
Stephen Argyle Goodridge win is a really big win going into a really good opponent. And I don't know if they're doing streaming of the Fargo Dome games or whatever.
I hope so.
If they aren't,
I
it's a
hope so.
travesty.
Yeah.
Because that is probably one of the biggest games of the state that really looking forward to. And
It's definitely one of the
seeing
biggest 9-player games. There's no doubt there.
uh,
I'm picking Stephen Argyle on that one. I like how tough those guys are up there. Played with all those guys from that area in college, and I think there's a good mindset there. So I'm
I
going to
feel like
pick that.
I'm one of Stephen Argyle just because I got to go watch them, even though it was an away game.
Yeah,
I got to go watch them first person.
yeah,
Um,
tough,
yeah,
really tough.
the Fertile Beltrami it's a little weird because I thought they were. I would have pegged after seeing some of the season play out that they were not going to
Mm-hmm.
be state contenders. They weren't going to get there and whatever. But I don't think I knew how the sections really worked in 9-man. Like now I've kind of understood the sections of like where everybody shakes out, and
Right.
they're playing the Boston team that I think was a 6 or 7 point game, a 1 possession game going
Mm-hmm.
into it. One of those teams is gonna make state the quarterfinals, so that's gonna be a good one. And you thought Fertile, or at least I did, was gonna take a step back, but they're right there at the end of the day. Um, the top right was some of the more interested, like probably the best 2 games when you look at the
Oh yeah.
overall like schedule or whatever of Cromwell
Sure.
Wright plays Mille Lacs and Bertha Hewitt plays Ogilvy, and those I
Right.
think
Right.
are 4 very good teams playing each other. And you see the 2 winners that are going to be playing each other. I think that's going to be a good game.
Well, and I'm excited for next week after we get these games done, where we get to see the first round of the state tournament matchups, and hopefully teams come out healthy, because there can be some really fun quarterfinal state tournament games.
Yes, for sure.
And
I
we hope
think
the weather holds up too. I want the weather to stay nice, so we don't have weather
Please.
interfering with outcomes.
Please. My lock for this one is going to be
You can't pick Hills Beaver Creek.
No, I'm not. Don't worry. I've been on the train a little too much. All right. Red Rock Central. I think that's going to be my lock. Red Rock Central. I think it's going to be a good game though.
I was just going to say Wabassa was going to be my lock over Red Rock Central.
Oh, well, hey, a 14-point loss.
I love that. I'm telling you.
Wabasso suffered a 14-point loss to Red Rock Central. So I think if you're going to pick, you might want to go with your upset on that. If that's your upset.
Either way, I feel like however you want to label it, I'm just picking Wabasso over Red Rock.
I got you. And my upset pick is going to be Foston. Upset alert is going to be Foston over Fertile Beltrami. Again, a close regular season game. I'm going to like the team that just lost to that team going into it. So, yeah, give me Foston, the Greyhounds, even though their logo's
I'm
brown.
going up above that and taking Bertha Hewitt over Cromwell.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. I think Cromwell's the 1 seed. So, Bertha Hewitt take down a giant in the section of the 1 seed. So, hey, I like it. And I think,
super fun.
Like I said, the best game, I think there's 2. Honestly, there's a lot of really good games. Like the Cook County, the Battle is going to be.
This is the part we've been waiting for all year. I mean, we're talking about games during the season that are like going to be blowouts, and now we get to see these games that are like, these are championship games this week. This is section championship week. I mean, I've coached in a dozen of those games, and it's so fun. Your players, the focus of your practice during the week, the energy in the school, in the community. Like, you can't go anywhere as a coach or player and people are talking about it. People are excited, and it's going to be a beautiful Halloween night. And God, I can't wait until Saturday to kind of check out all the scores across the way. I'm going to be at the Holy Family game for that one. and then I'll be obviously watching scores online as we go. So
Hey,
bundle
I'm
up.
gonna
It's going to be a
have
little chilly on Friday night,
as many
but
screens as I can going. Hopefully, I
well,
don't
send
run
me
the
as many
electrical
alerts as
bill
you
up too
can. I'm going to
much.
be trying to watch too, but I'll be locked in.
I'm sure
So
we'll be texting back and forth the
yep,
whole
for
night
sure.
too, talking about scores. So
Absolutely,
yeah,
man.
hey, Minnesota,
Super fun.
this is we're getting down to crunch time, like we talked
Championship
about.
week.
It's championship week, and this is when the marbles start mattering a little bit more because
Yep,
good
you got
teams are
it.
playing each other, and teams are
So
getting
fun.
eliminated
So fun.
slowly. So,
Thanks for
hey
watching,
guys,
everybody.
yeah, thanks
We
for
got
watching.
more. Yeah,
We got
it's gonna
more.
be it's
Yes,
gonna be really fun. So get locked in,
yes,
and we'll analyze all this stuff and figure out some picks next week.
yes. All right. See you guys. See you next week.
Take care.